Hello, this is going to be my analysis for All Things Must Die on the RWBY soundtrack. I'm already smiling. This song is very hype for me. It's got two characters I stan mentioned in it. It's got the cool villain song vibe. It's got the angry music and guitars. It's got a great scene it's incorporated into. So yeah, I'm excited. But yep, I say two characters I stan. Raven and Cinder both been confirmed by Casey, which is quite validating because I imagined that's what it was anyway. Sort of with the language used and the general theme of the scene, that's what it felt like to me. But I get other interpretations, like some of the words used can really go either way. But anyway, let's get to it. It's going to be a fun time. I love the eerie beginning before it goes into the guitars. It's so atmospheric. Puts you on edge, which like the fight scene, you know.
Day by day it's nearer. Step by step you grow closer to your ruin. Soon your time to go. Life is just a journey.
Real villain song vibes, you know. Love a good villain song. I love this bit. It's like the calm before a storm, because everything just pauses for a minute. And then
all things must die.
I love that. It's sort of because the fight didn't obviously start right away like that. It was Raven and Cinder watching each other, trying to betray each other first. Obviously Cinder got the drop on Raven, but I like that. The tense beginning, like before the fight, and then it's like, I'm going to tear you apart sort of music. But yep, the whole way through, I think it's very much a mix of Raven and Cinder. There's only a couple of bits where I'm like, yeah, this is all 100% this character. Because like this stuff at the beginning, it's sort of like you're going to die soon, but it doesn't seem very it seems more certain. It's like more grim determination than the actual enjoyment, which seems more like Raven to me. We know that Cinder is a sadistic person, putting it lightly, and yeah, but obviously both of them are morally dubious at best. But and then you get to this stuff like bloody evolution. Obviously that's a This Will Be the Day reference. It was one of my favourite songs on the soundtrack. I think it's one of everyone's favourites. And like, you know, and then after that bit there's used words like transcend, and I think Cinder wants to transcend being human. Like she wants all this power. She doesn't just want to be like she doesn't just want to be a good fighter. She also wants to be a maiden, but she can't just have one maiden's power. She needs more maiden's powers, and also she needs to be on the sort of winning side of Salem and stuff like that. She's quite power hungry. So, and the stuff like, you know, when Cinder went into Raven's camp and then she introduced Emerald and Mercury as her disciples. Now, like, that is quite a word. When I watched that scene, I was like, does Cinder, like, think she's Jesus or something? Like, disciples? Raven didn't seem impressed by that either. But it's like, transcend, you know, that seems to be a very much a Cinder thing. That's what she wants to do. And black out the sky, that's, I believe that's a When It Falls reference, not like a specific one, but like soon the moon is bathed in black is one of the lyrics for When It Falls, because obviously she goes through red, white, black and like fire for each of the girls. I've always seen When It Falls as a Cinder Falls song. So that wouldn't, I don't think that would make sense as a Raven thing. I think All Things Must Die, like both the title and the set of lyrics themselves in the song are a more Raven thing. But I'm going to get to that near the end. Fight's playing in my head. Just interrupt it there. Okay. Sorry, that's a weird place to stop, I apologise. But see, I think this could really go either way in itself. Because this is the end, here's where you'll die. I'm gonna kill you. They both seemed quite intent on killing each other. And legends have scattered, so just say goodbye. Well, it's like, is Raven implying that like legends aren't like a real thing or a powerful enough force in this world to sort of stick around? So Cinder is, even if Cinder was like one of those legends, she wouldn't remain? Or is Cinder saying she's scattered legends by taking them out? Because you could say Pyrrha arguably is a legend, and Cinder also took out Ozpin. I'm not sure if she knew he was going to come back as a small 14-year-old, but she did kill an Ozpin, so she did scatter some legends of her own. So, like, yeah, it could go either way. And, like, no one will miss you when you're finally gone. Well, Cinder and Raven are both quite unpopular in the show. In the fandom, it could go either way. Lots of people hate them, but they both have their stands. And then you have the different circles of them. That's not the point. The point is, like, in the show canon itself, arguably, no one would miss either of them. Well, Emerald would miss Cinder, and some people in Raven's tribe, and maybe Yang herself would miss Raven, but, like, I don't think those characters would consider those other characters important. I don't know if Cinder considers Raven's tribe important, or if Raven considers Emerald important, or anything like that. I don't even think Cinder would think about Emerald, to be honest. And Raven, she does sort of seem to care about other people, but her priority is herself, being honest. And obviously, at your conclusion, sing your swan song. I don't know how they sang it. She could sing it that quickly. I could barely say it. But, like, a swan song, that's, it's like a sort of, a final sort of, maybe a grand act. I don't know the best way of defining it, but it's like a final thing you do when you die. It's meant to be something quite spectacular. Like a swan song can't be a bit meh. Like, think it's based on the myth that before a swan dies, it sings a beautiful song, and swans normally don't sing a beautiful song, but they will before they die. And you get this sort of, when you think about like a final grand act, I think more Cinder than Raven. But I mean, it's a swan song, it's more bird imagery, and that's always Raven. So like, both, that could be both. And I think that is the point of this. You get on to this next bit. Murder, unkindness, conspiracy. Those are Cinder's crimes, and those are also groups of ravens. Again, both. Embers extinguish in how did she sing it so quickly? She really is a talent. Embers extinguished in effigy. Okay, so that's like so obviously Cinder is fire imagery, but Raven could extinguish fire if Cinder is fire. So yeah, I definitely think that this song can't be solely one character without a bit of manipulation, in my personal opinion. But anyway, let's get to the next bit. It's a sad day for Hellbird shippers. Oh. And just stop it before that calm a bit. But that's another thing there. The beginning bit can go either way, because like I think all tales conclude sort of like, you know, that's another way of saying all things must die, you know, all stories end. So it may be a Raven thing, but then there's like infinite matter will always evolve, and evolution seems to be a Cinder thing, if that's mentioned in This Will Be the Day, even though unfortunately she hasn't done as much evolving as she could have in canon, but that's another matter. But this bit I feel is these few lines here are very Cinder. Like, just pray for mercy at your time of death, be glad you existed, enjoy your last breath. Like, I feel like Cinder would definitely be the type of person to make someone beg as they died. She likes toying with people. She wouldn't just be like, I need to kill this person. I don't need to drag it out, I can just kill him. Like, Raven seems a bit more apathetic, maybe. And Cinder actively enjoys this. So, like, be glad you existed, enjoy your last breath. That's, like, an unnecessarily cruel way of putting it. And even, like, gleefully forcing this eulogy. It's born of the turn, it's the treachery. I mean, gleefully forcing this eulogy is another way of saying, like, I'm happy to be killing you. That's, yeah, that seems more Cindery. And then spawn of the turn, it's the treachery. I mean, treachery and turn, it's probably to do with them, Raven and Cinder being so ready to betray each other. Like, they never trusted each other. So I don't know what else that line could mean. They probably wanted something that fit. but I think that definitely fits with the theme. Like they're both morally dubious and are aware of that. Maybe slightly proud of it, more in the way of Cinder than Raven. But yeah, I keep mentioning this whole thing about Cinder being potentially more aggressive and cruel in terms of wanting people to die, because I think when you compare like Cinder's fight with Amber, where she like paralyzed her and then got this parasite and forced that into her and tried to drain away her soul and her life, and tried to drain away her. Well, I don't know what specifically she was going for, but she was going for a nasty death, wasn't she? Like, she could have tried to shoot her in the head or slit her throat, but she messed her up. And with Pyrrha as well, like, she could have just like incinerated her, but no, she beat her up a whole lot, and then she shot her in the leg, and then she shot her in the heart, and left her to like feel that for a few minutes. Not a few minutes, a while, and then just then she incinerated her. And then with Vanal, she had her fingers in her organs. Like, obviously it's to make whoever it is think of her, but obviously with Pyrrha, that wasn't really necessary. I think that Cinder would probably want whoever she's killing to think of her before they die anyway, you know? And then when you compare that to Raven talking about the previous maiden, where she tried to train her for I don't know how long. I'm assuming it was a while. I assume it wasn't like an hour and then she gave up. But she trained her, but she wouldn't get any stronger. So Raven killed her to hold the power for herself. And for whatever reason, but when she's explaining that to Yang and stuff, she's getting upset, you know, she's crying. She's not proud of it like Cinder is. She seems like, before Yang even confronted her, she seemed very, well, cold. And I think the elements used in the maiden fight itself that this was played in are quite important, because Cinder is fiery and destructive and passionate in her destruction, whilst Raven has sort of allowed herself to become like how do I explain this? I think somewhere inside Raven there was a loving person once. I'm not saying, oh, she was kind and sweet like RWBY. I don't think that was ever Raven. I don't think she ever, like, you know, would be like hugging puppies and making cookies for people and smiling and stuff like that. But I think that she is very much capable of caring about people, and she must have once, for her semblance to even been discovered. She must have loved people. So I think when she left, she tried to minimise that as much as possible so she wouldn't be in pain, so she could get on with it, you know, so she could survive. And that's why she's cold, you know, because, like, cold is sort of the absence of warmth. Cold isn't like a solid thing, it's a lack of a thing. And warmth is often associated with nice things like, well, love and kindness and sunshine, which is funny because, like, Yang is sunshine. I say that, but it's not funny, it's actually quite tragic, because Raven's allowed herself to become this not great person. But I'm just pointing it out because I think that not only are the elements like a visual cue, so you can tell who's fighting from who, because they have similar colour schemes, so you'd need something, you know, like in Star Wars they have, like, the bad guys have red lightsabers, the good guys have the blue lightsabers. Like, obviously you need that sort of thing, because they were going quite quickly and swirling about and doing, like, Avatar The Last Airbender stuff. But I think it also speaks for their characters, and I just think that the lyrics reflect this, you know? But yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking about how Raven could have been so different if she had stayed, and that's a rough time. Let's not go down that path. Oh, I love this. I love this song. There are so many different ways to say I'm gonna kill you, and it uses almost all of them. In my mind's eye, I can just see, well, a cinder falling, you know? I love the way this song was used. And that it was sort of used to capture a moment. But beyond that, because this moment was sort of built up. And it was something like I didn't know I wanted. I didn't know I wanted this maiden fight. I never thought when I first met Raven that, oh, do you know who I want her to confront? Cinder. Like, that didn't really occur to me. But it makes sense. I really do like the characters and like how they are similar in some aspects and so different in others. In fact, I used to ship them, but like that's sunk. That's that's dead. If that happened, that would come out of left field, wouldn't it? That would be a shock to us all. But anyway, I think this bit, as well as I said, there's so many different ways to say that you're gonna kill someone, and this uses a fair amount of them, doesn't it? I think it's like all the ones that haven't been used in a Yang song have been used in this, and I think that I said how all things must die, those lyrics are a Raven thing, and I do think this ends on a Raven feeling, because so many of these lyrics are meant to be taken for either character, and I think that is the point, because like the first time you watch the fight scene, for many of us we were like, well before the fight scene, when it ended, it's like, but no, it's not the Spring Maiden, I am, and everyone's like, yeah, but and everyone was like, well, what's going to happen? Who's going to win? They're both really powerful. Or like, oh my god. And there was a lot of uncertainty. Even during the fight, there are lots of moments where you're watching it for the first time and you're like, is she going to die? Is she going to die? They're both going to die. What's going to happen? And then, like, when you watch it back again, to me anyway, it seemed like, I was like, watch it back and I was like, I don't know why I was so surprised, because of course Raven would win, because like Raven's not only had these powers for years, instead of months, she's had them for years, and well, Sorry, I'm looking back through my notes, trying to find the right words, you know. I have a lot of feelings about this song. But, like, of course Raven's going to win, not only because of experience, but also because Cinder's fatal flaw, and I don't mean a flaw as in like her being a murderer. I mean a flaw as in like a characteristic she has that she needs to overcome, and that would be like her arrogance, maybe her hubris. She's just like, she is so powerful. Cinder is so powerful, but she has to understand that there are so many people in Remnant which are very powerful, you know? Like, she defeated Pyrrha, but there's also, like, yeah, she did defeat Ozpin as well. He came back. Cinder can't come back, as far as we know. Well, I mean, like, unless Salem does some grim stuff. But Cinder alone can't do that. And obviously Salem herself. Cinder's got no chance against Salem, is she? And, like, other maidens, obviously, as we can tell. And it's just, right, Cinder thinks she's better than every individual person. And then she's surprised when those people come together. I feel like if Cinder wasn't so... I'm saying this as a Cinder fan. I'm not just, like, slagging her off. I do love her. But she needs to get her act together, you know? If she has any hope of winning. If she is coming back. But Cinder is so, like, self-absorbed that she can't actually see what's really happening. Like, if she had just paid attention to Vanal and thought of her as someone potentially dangerous, even once, she might have noticed that she hadn't actually killed her yet, and that she could, and her weapon was right next to her, and that she could fire it, because that's the point. Raven has burned so many bridges that she did not need to burn and hurt so many people, but she still values people. Not in a good guy, everyone's special and important sort of way, but in a everyone has their uses sort of way. Although it is heavily implied that Raven did care about Vanal in order for Vanal to get through one of her portals. But I do hope that is mentioned later and cleared up. But that's the thing. You know, if Cinder had thought of other people as possessing some kind of threat to her, as being anywhere close to an equal, then she might have realised what could have happened, killed Vanal, and then, well, the fight would have lasted longer at least. Or at least she wouldn't get thrown into the void. Something else might have happened to her. But yeah, I think if anything's preventing Cinder from developing, it's that. And I hope that if she does come back, that's acknowledged. Whether she progresses or regresses, I hope that that's mentioned. So, like, either she understands that flaw and she has to try and work her way back up, or she refuses to accept that flaw and it's, like, sort of stated in canon that that's why she was taken out. But yeah, I think it's great because, like, when you consider all of that, then, like, of course Raven won. Cinder was a bit dumb. I love her, and Cinder is smart and she does plan and do sneaky things, but she is her own worst enemy. Raven doesn't seem to have many enemies, she just doesn't have any friends, and I think that can be a difference, as we see with whatever happened with Vanal. But yeah, so there has to be that uncertainty because of the scene, and then when you look back, this end stuff seems to be Raven related, to me anyway, because I hear this and I just think about Raven for lack of better words, yeeting Cinder. Oh no. But her just throwing her, you know, and then freezing her from the inside out. That's a rough day at work, you know. But like, she's just saying, it's time for you to die. You're going to die. Accept that you're going to die. Everything dies. You're going to die. That doesn't seem very Cinder-y language-wise to me. Like, I think when I first heard it, I was like, could be either. But when I'm looking at the lyrics and really trying to think, like, when you compare When It Falls, like, Cinder's talking about, like, one of the first lyrics is like red like roses, or maybe like a pool of blood the innocents will lay in the end we can't save them, or something like that. And it's just like, really like, whoa, calm down. Really over dramatic and really kind of graphic and unnecessarily, there's unnecessary imagery with that, and I think Raven has a more no nonsense approach with it. It's not like, even when she kills Cinder, we don't know whether she's dead or not. Even when she defeats Cinder, she's not like tearing her apart when she's still alive, like, or anything like that. She freezes her from the inside out and pushes her off a cliff, essentially, because it's like, well, most people would not survive that, and that seems like a logical way of defeating an opponent, you know? Like, if she's frozen from the inside out, well, we don't know if she can recover from that, because obviously Cinder only throws Raven on the outside. But that seems like a Raven thing to do, to go for a more logical approach to it. Like, what do I need to do? I need to make sure that Cinder can't fight me anymore, so I can get the relic. So that's what she did. And I just think that is very much shows in the song. I still think that it is very much a villain song, which is interesting because Raven is obviously, well, Yang quoted Taeyang and said complicated, and I think Raven is complicated because she does a lot of villainous things, but she has so many traits which can be associated with a hero. She values the lives of others. Even her power needs love to function. She has to bond with people and care about people in order to get a portal to someone. She can't remember them or just have interacted with them or just know where they are. She has to care about them. And multiple people too. So that implies that she has a possibility, like the potential to be quite a loving person. And she, like, when she killed the previous maiden, she said it's a mercy. I don't know who it was a mercy to specifically. Like, maybe the maiden herself, so she wouldn't have to die, well, like how Cinder would kill her. No fingers in organs or paralysis as you watch something be, as you watch yourself die, or anything like that. It's I imagine Raven would have just killed her in a not a graphic way, or if she did kill her in a graphic way, she clearly is not feeling great about it. And even when she leaves Yang, she's obviously upset. She says things like, I'm sorry. And like, guilt about doing bad things, that's obviously like more of a hero thing. And caring about people and not setting out to hurt people, to actually to try and prevent people from hurting people. Because obviously if the previous maiden was killed by someone evil, and then someone evil got the powers, then that person would use that power to kill people, and Raven felt responsible for the power. So yeah, like, Raven's done lots of horrible things with lots of good traits, but I'm not sure she qualifies as 100% a villain. I think she's more neutral. Like, she doesn't want to part in the conflict, and I don't think that she truly understands that she can't run away from it. So yeah, I rambled for a bit there, I apologise. But what was I saying? But yeah, like, the fact of the matter is, I think, like, this is a very villain song for more of a neutral character, and I think it's an important reminder before that scene where Yang confronts Raven, because I think Raven has to be shown what she is by one of the only people she will actually listen to, probably the only person she'll actually listen to anymore. And then she thinks about it, and I think she is beginning to question all the things that she's been doing, because she's clearly upset. I feel like she's buried this so far deep that she hasn't thought about it for so long, and then when, like, the minute she's alone with Yang, it just all falls apart. So I'm intrigued. I hope that we do get some cool Raven development, even if she does turn out to be evil in the end. I'm hoping she gets either a redemption arc, or she helps but stays more on the neutral side of things, because I don't see her as particularly wanting to actively... She doesn't want to actively help the villains, at the very least. But I like that this focus on the negative aspects to build to the next scene. This very much feels like, instead of like a volume summary or a character summary, it's like a moment summary. But you do get some character insight in that, and I think that's fun. But yeah, also stuff like Surrender Your Pride, Cinder's a proud one, and yeah, and just close your eyes, don't fear demise. Cinder doesn't seem more like the comforting type. She doesn't seem like she cares that much. She only says stuff like that when she's... Cinder seems to use good, like, positive words and even like positive physical contact to manipulate people. Like, you know, I've seen loads of screenshots of when Cinder, like, touches Roman's face, and people are like, oh, that's flirtatious, but I looked at that and her eyes glowed, and I'm like, that's scary. And like, when Emerald sees Cinder again, she goes to hug her, but Cinder ignores her because Cinder's, like, upset with her, and that's often a tactic in unhealthy relationships, that instead of just wanting to be affectionate with people, someone might, like, use physical affection as a reward and then withdraw it as a punishment, sort of thing. So that implies that Cinder's hugged Emerald once, at least, when she's done something good, which is obviously bad. And yeah, so comforting does not seem like a Cinder thing. If she's ever done stuff like that, nice things, it very much seems like a manipulation tactic. I think she might have been scared off that a bit when the fall happened. She had to get back into being Cinder, you know. She had to do a little villain training camp, beat up some Grim, beat up some fake rubies. But yeah, she did try and slide back into it, but she didn't count on other people. But yeah, circling back, I keep rambling. I care about these characters a lot. I apologise, but like, all things must die. Just those words, they feel very much Raven to me. It's just a simple fact. Like, Cinder wants to be powerful. She wants to be, well, maybe, like, if to use the words in the song, a legend. You know, she wants everyone to, like, acknowledge how great she is and fear her and stuff like that. And, like, the thing is, Raven has never ever given any indication that she cares about what other people think of her. Apart from Yang, a little bit. A little bit is a lot for Raven, but like a little bit. She's still been not nice to her. But it's All Things Must Die is quite a blunt statement. Like, yeah, we're all gonna die one day. We don't know how. Like, I'm gonna die and you're gonna die. Apart from in this song, it's like, well, we're all gonna die one day. You are going to die today. But yeah, but I feel like even though Raven is scared of death, she accepts it. She knows what it is. She seems like more interested in survival than actually being remembered. She knows that everything's going to crap and the world's basically ending, and she just wants to live as long as she can, really. Cinder doesn't want that. She wants control over other people, and she needs... Here's the thing. Cinder needs other people. In order to have someone to fear you, someone has to be alive to fear you. If Cinder and, well, Salem do want to destroy all of humanity, and I'm guessing all of Fauna's kind as well, eventually. But if they do that, who's going to be there to acknowledge how great Cinder is and how scary she is and how powerful she is? Cinder needs other people. It's her flaw. She doesn't really comprehend that. Salem's told her, but she hasn't accepted that. But it just makes Cinder's goal impossible, you know? Like, Cinder can't get what she actually wants. Like, this is the only path that will give her that kind of power. That has given her that kind of power. But if she keeps walking it, then she won't get what she wants. So, of course Raven's gonna win throughout all of this, because Raven's goal of living longer, that's achievable, but Cinder's isn't. So Cinder's gonna, if she's still alive, and even if she had won the fight, she would spend the rest of her life trying to get more and more powerful, and it would never be enough, and trying to get everyone to fear her and acknowledge her power and everything. And like, then she'll die one day, somehow, because we all die, all things must die, and she'll be forgotten. So in that sense, Raven's already won, because they're both going to die one day, and Raven will have got what she wanted, but Cinder won't. And I think that's a lot, you know? Like, I don't think this is how Cinder should die. I would like to see her come back and confront RWBY one more time. But there is some poetry in this, at the very least. Because just accepting in your heart that you're going to die takes a lot. It does take a lot. I'll give Raven that. But yeah, of course Raven won. But is she really winning? I think that's a question for another time. But anyway, I hope you liked this analysis. I hope you were okay with my rambling. I think these are two characters which deserve a lot of appreciation, and I like to see what their actions have consequences in the plot, and them interacting with each other was fantastic. But yeah, I hope that this hasn't been all, you know, like null and void, you know. I don't know if I explained myself accurately, but I don't know. I hope this makes someone do think. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and have a great day.